Welcome to the latest CEO interview here at goldinvest.de. Today we are talking to Jeremy Wyeth, CEO of gold development company Treasury Metals, TML on the TSX, on how things are progressing at the company's Goliath Gold Complex. Before we begin though, I suggest you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you would like to see more interviews from the junior mining sector like this one. Jeremy, good to talk to you.
Good morning, Bjorn. It's good to talk to you as well. And I see things are starting to open up and hopefully soon we can do this in person.
That would be nice, yes. My last travel trip was actually to Toronto in March of last year to the PDAC. So perhaps next year again. But Jeremy, it has even been a few months, not only since the last trips, but since we last chatted. And I'm sure the timing is good to give our Gold Invest listeners an update on how things are progressing at Treasury Metals.
Good morning, Bjorn. Yes, I think it's been almost 4 months since we last chatted, and really lots has been happening. Things are progressing well. We've confirmed the engineering companies that are helping us with the PFS. We've started all those trade-off studies. Since we last spoke, we've mobilized a second drill, hired a VP of projects, a VP of HR and community engagement, a director of exploration, and we're planning to add a third rig as soon as next week. So really a lot has been happening in the last 4 months, and I agree, timing is great.
Well, certainly also today, for once, the gold price is trending up, so we'll see how that takes us. As you said, we have noticed that you made quite a few strategic hires as you build out your team, because you need different skill set, presumably, to take the project forward. Would you please care to elaborate for us?
Absolutely. I think, Bjorn, this to me is the vital component of setting ourselves up for success. I think it was the day after we spoke last time that we hired Oren Baranowski as a full-time CFO for the first time in Treasury. He comes with really valuable capital market skills. He raised $1 billion to build a mine in Canada. And he was then the CFO of that operating mine. So really understands what we need once we're in operations. And what I like here is he's actually starting that planning already. So we're not going to wait to get into operations and then start that. Soon after that, we hired Clinton Swemmer as the VP of projects. And he too brings over 20 years of experience, a lot of it in the technical studies, but also the mine building areas, which means he can manage these studies and take us through to operations. So I think the important message from me here is that we're hiring a team that goes right up to the start of production. I don't want to be changing that team as we progress over the next few years. Soon after that, we hired Moira Kolb. She was with Battle North and joined us as Director of Exploration. She comes from the region, more than 10 years of experience in Northwestern Ontario, with a real focus on regional exploration. And then last but not least, we hired Rachel Pino a couple of weeks ago as VP of HR and community engagement. And she has personally been involved in the startup of 3 mines, 2 of them in Ontario, and the negotiation and implementation of many of the agreements with Indigenous communities in the region. So I think this, combined with the skills we already had in the company, will help us achieve our goals. And, we're bringing in a team that's been there before and done it and taken mines through this process. So for me, that is absolutely critical.
Well, sounds like you've got a good team together there. But you didn't stop hiring because you also choose the engineering contractors to help you take the project to the next technical studies. And we see some quality companies there. What are your decisions on this?
Again, here, we thought long and hard about the choice of engineering consultants. We can either split the work up or try and give it to one consultant. And we ended up choosing who we thought could add the most value in specific areas. For example, in the PEA, we had 3 different QPs, qualified person, for the 3 different resources. And that was because we had a resource we acquired 2 other resources. So it made sense at that stage that we had different QPs. But now we've pulled all of that under one QP with SRK, a well-known company. The drilling program that we're undertaking this year comes with significant input from this QP. And a lot of it looks at where we had difficulty modeling continuity in the resource. So the program takes this into consideration as to how we can best add ounces to the mine plan. Ausenco managed the PEA for us, and they did a good job. And we kept them on as the lead, and they'll do process and infrastructure. And then SLR showed some really good innovations in the tailings area. And we feel that this is an area where we have good opportunities to optimize the design to help limit the environmental impacts. And we had worked with Stantec and Wood to help us permit the 3 projects. And we've kept them on board because really in Ontario, they are the 2 companies with the most experience and the necessary skill sets. So I truly believe this group will again set us up for success. We feel that there are a lot of opportunities both on the cost and the revenue side to increase the overall economics of the project. And let's be honest, they were already robust when we started. So this will all be great upside for us.
Hey, sounds good. Well, you mentioned the drilling. I think to date we've seen 5 drill results press releases and all showing positive results. Can you summarize these for us and explain a little bit about the drill plan for the rest of the year? I think you want to achieve 60 meters, 60,000 meters in drilling. And you mentioned that you're bringing a 3rd drill rig to site. Please tell us about that.
Correct, Born. This is the one area that we're actually excited about. We started off with 1 drill a couple of months ago. We brought the 2nd drill on, and as you know, I think it's next week the 3rd drill starts. So drill results for January, February, and March were predominantly from Goldland, and what we showed there was we were achieving the intersections that we anticipated, and that gave us a lot more comfort in the continuity, while upgrading inferred to indicated and extending the resource outside of and between the different pits. In May, we released drill results from Miller. We did 3,000 meters of drilling at Miller. And this was the one area that we were excited about. It's with a limited amount of drilling, about 30 holes. We saw a reasonably significant addition to our resource. So we did this drilling, saw again, same quality of results. We saw additional intersections within the open pits, but then also additional along strike outside of the open pit. So again, exciting. We then brought a drill into Goliath. And I mentioned in our last discussions that at Goliath, everything stops at 600 meters in the PEA, in the underground mining. And it's only because we didn't have any information below that. So we've been drilling busily away at Goliath below 600 meters to extend that resource. And then alongside, we have the nose fold and the Far East targets, which have had significant intersections in the past, but we've really never had the funding to follow up on. So those are also being drilled this year. And to be honest, I think that what we saw at Miller with the addition of quite a significant resource with limited drilling, I think we have a very strong possibility of seeing that at the nose fold and the Far East areas. We also feel it's important to start testing additional targets along the whole 65-kilometer strike trend that we have. And that was one of the main reasons for bringing Moira in with her background in that type of planning. We did have some delays getting the 2nd drill in, as we know, with the pandemic and where we are, and the fact that things have really taken off in Canada in the mining industry. So we had delays with the 2nd drill. We still want to achieve our 60,000 meters. To date, we've achieved half of that in half of the year. So we're well on track for 2021. And the 3rd drill coming in will help us maintain the productivity on the drills. And we're doing something else, Bjorn, which I've done before. We're actually running live resource models while we're busy. So we have our resource models, and as the drilling comes in, we're adding this to the resource models. So we can see the impact of the drilling, we can see what's happening. And latest end of the year, we'll be doing the resource updates, but with the live models, it actually gives me the opportunity to do this earlier if we decide to. So, lots happening there, well on track. And, all I can say here is follow those results. We've seen, we should be getting about one a month coming out. At Goliath, it takes a little bit longer because of the long holes, but really good results coming out, and I'm really positive that this is going to add quite significantly to the resource.
Well, it certainly sounds like it, and also, of course, it's a very nice technical abilities you have nowadays. That live updating your models as you go along is a great help, I imagine. Now, all that you mentioned is a lot of work. There's people that need to be paid. I think you completed the financing in March of this year. How far does that funding take you? Does this fund exploration activities for the next year?
It does, Bjorn. We raised 17.6 million in March. 7.5 million was flow-through dollars for drilling. So that fully funds our drill program for this year. The remaining 10 million will be used to fund the technical studies, the permitting, the community engagement, and corporate costs for the year. So we are fully funded for these programs. We're in the position which is fortunate that we can see towards the end of the year how the market is reacting to the drilling we're doing. If the market's appreciating our drill results, then we can actually look at increasing the drill program. One of the great aspects of our packed land package is we don't have a lack of targets. We spoke last time about achieving the critical mass. We have sufficient now to build the mine, but I would also like to grow it while we are going through the studies. But that's all dependent on whether the market actually appreciates that and actually gives us support for that. So we're in the fortunate position, funded at least to the end of the year, and we can take decisions then as to how much drilling we see planned for next year and the year after.
And this affects the need for further funding then. Good. Well, you mentioned that before several times, and it's a major theme we have been seeing in mining is the importance of community engagement. Can you discuss how Treasury Metals is working with communities to continue to advance your project?
Bjorn, this is absolutely essential in all projects, and it's all over the world. And we're very proud of the results we've achieved. The team that we have has been working with the communities for many, many years. And the results we achieved during the environmental assessment process, where the communities were involved, and they're actually making a lot of recommendations that help us improve the project. So the projects become technically better projects with the input from the communities. Okay. We continually engaged with them, and it's how to best develop the project, working together, gaining trust, because this is not a short-term relationship. This is something where we're going to be working together for many, many years, and it's important that we build those relationships. As part of our recently signed agreements, we have a First Nation-owned drill company doing some of our drilling on site. And we very soon going to be having our inaugural Environmental Management Committee meetings with one of the key partners to kick off more formal reviews of plans for the years ahead, the permitting and where we're going. So, these relationships have been built over the long term. And, we believe we're in a really good spot to continue with this, improve these relationships as we move forward and take this through into operations.
Right, sounds great. And we'll of course be looking forward to hearing more on all of these fronts. So what do you see as the next milestones for the project during the rest of this year and into 2022?
Bjorn, we're at the stage where we're doing technical studies, and I can spend maybe a little bit of time just a lot of the opportunities that have come out of these studies, and this is where Clinton has come on board, and he's busy with looking at how we can improve the overall economics and the technical aspects of this project. And some of the areas that he's looking at there are metallurgical recovery at Goldland and Miller, where we in the high 80s and we should be in the mid 90s. So we're doing additional test work to give us that upside opportunity. We don't have silver credits at Goldland and Miller, so we have an extensive sampling program to achieve that. We're looking at a tailings dam strategy, how we can optimize that design. We're looking at, now that we have one resource QP, we're looking at how we can pull the three resources together and look at the modeling of that. There are different opportunities on the ore transportation side from Goldland and Miller. We're looking there to see from an ESG perspective if we can find other options that are maybe more environmentally friendly. And those are just a few of them. So when you look at that, those trade-offs will continue as we move forward, and that will give us some news flow, which will be part of the milestones. The drilling will continue, both expanding and converting the resources. And with 60,000 meters, we're going to have at least one drill result each month. As I mentioned earlier, one of the next milestones is going to be the resource updates. Latest by year end, but with the live models we discussed, that gives us an opportunity to do it during the year if we wish. And then we're going to progress the provincial permitting and Indigenous Nations agreements. And a lot of this really gets going after the trade-offs are completed and that project description is pulled together. So all in all, at least monthly news flow as we work hard to complete this program. I think, Bjorn, it's really important for us to deliver on the commitments we made. And when we spoke last time, we spoke about raising the capital, which we've done. We spoke about the 60,000 meter drill program. As I said to you, we're on track to achieve that. We spoke about some of the strategic hires. When beginning of the year, we were a really small company and we needed to bring in some of those key resources to help us actually kickstart this and get this moving. We've done that. We've still got 6 months left in 2021. We're really excited about the progress we've got to date and really anticipating a really good second half of the year as we start seeing the results. We've been working on some of these studies now, but it takes a couple of months to get the results out of it. So really excited about the second half, the next 6 months, as we move through all the different programs that we have. Okay. And would love to, in a couple of months, catch up with you again and be able to give you and your listeners a really good update as we start seeing more results.
Well, that's certainly appreciated, and we would like to hear how it all went too. Thank you very much for taking the time, and as you detailed, you have a busy 6 months before you, hopefully successful too, and yeah, we'll talk again and see how it all went. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Bjorn. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.